Okay, so you're just cruising along using the pen tool, creating your little shape, and you realized you just made a boo-boo. Might be a big boo-boo, might be a little boo-boo, but either way you need to adjust this curve. Well, in this upcoming video I'm going to teach you how to adjust curves using Inkscape's node tool. Okay, this is the node tool. It's going to be right below the selector tool, which we spoke about in the previous video. If you highlight over it, it's going to let you know you can quickly select the node tool using the N key on your keyboard. Okay, by default, the keystroke to activate the node tool is F2. That works mostly for Windows and Linux operating systems. It can technically work for Mac OS, but 9 out of 10 times your keyboard is set to increase the brightness of your monitor. But there's also an alternative, which is the N key, and that's probably just easier to remember anyway. The node tool is basically as advertised. This is basically used to edit your paths or curves. But let's get into what a node is. And basically what a node is at any point in your vector object, and usually when you have more than one point, I'll show you here, the pen tool. Alright, a node on its own doesn't really do much. It's just a point in space or on a 2D area or surface, virtually speaking. But when we add another node, we create a path. So let's activate the node tool with the N key, and we have two nodes, and there's a line that connects it. Well, that line is what we refer to as a curve or a path. And the nodes basically exist to create the curve. Now, I believe Inkscape officially refers to it as a curve, not a path. Don't quote me on it. But let's get into handles, or handles in terms of paths, because I know in the previous video we talked about handles when using the selector tool, and these are different type of handles. But generally speaking, whenever we click on a path and drag it out, we magically see these handles. The handles are basically designed to adjust the curve. And we can basically drag the handles around and, create a reasonable adjustment to the curve. But handles can appear usually with any node, and if you don't see the handle on your node, handles, you just click on a path, drag it out, there's your new handle. Well, it's not technically always been there, but you just couldn't see it because the handle was probably right on top of your node or inside of it or whatever. Now let's talk about selecting nodes. And basically you can select the node good old-fashioned way, just point and click. You can also quickly select two nodes at once by just simply clicking on the curve in between the nodes. So in this example over here, I'll just click on this curve over here, and these two nodes are selected. Now, just like in the example with the selector tool, we can also click and drag to select multiple nodes. There we go. It's the same with the bottom. And of course, if you hold down the Shift key, you can select additional nodes, deselect nodes. Let me give you a better example here. I'll select one node, hold down the Shift key. It's the second, the third, the fourth. And you can also use this Shift key to deselect nodes. Okay, some of the other things we can do when selecting a node, we can of course move it around, and we can make our adjustments. The other thing we can do is delete nodes, and we can just do that by selecting the node. Follow my own words. There we go. Got a new node selected. Tap on the delete key and it's gone. Now if you want to add a node to any part of the path, you just double click on it. There's a new node here, there's a new node there. No big deal. We're going to get into a slightly more advanced topic, and we're going to talk about different types of nodes. There are basically 4 types of nodes, and you'll find them up here in the options bar. Got the corner node, which is pretty much as advertised. Simply put, corner nodes can have a sharp angle, but they also have independent handles, which means when you drag them out, the handles work independently of each other. Now we have the curve node, which you can access up here, and the node basically creates a smooth curve at that point. Now the nodes are kind of independent of each other. Dragging it one out only affects the curve on the left hand side of this node, and the node on the right side affects the curve on the right side of the node. But generally speaking, the curve is maintained regardless of where you move the handle. Now we have the, let's see, this is called the symmetric node. Now the difference between a curved node and a symmetric node are the fact that the handles basically mirror each other. So when you drag one handle out, the other handle gets dragged out the same distance. Same thing when you drag it in closer to a node. And of course, the node maintains its curve regardless of where you move the handles. And okay. And then we have the basically smoothed curve node, which is basically the same thing as a curved node. There's no real big difference. I mean, the curve is maintained, but you can drag the handle out however you wish. And now I'm going to show you a quick pro tip. If we hold down the control key and we click on the node, let's see, depending on what type of node it is, so that was the auto curve node, I believe. So let's see. No, let's create a new node just for simplicity's sake. Alright, so we just double clicked on a random curve, added a new node. It's basically a curved node. We hold down the control key, click on it, it converts it to an auto smoothed node. No big difference. Click on it again or twice. Then we have a symmetrical node. And then we click on it again. We have a corner node. Now, in my experience doing this, sometimes gives me inconsistent results because it's not as predictable as I like. Might be due to my computer because it's older than the hills, but no big deal. Let's try this node over here. Control click on that. There we go. So that should be a symmetrical node. Yes, it is. Click on it again. We have a corner node. Click it on it again. It's just a curved node. Click on it again. Auto curve. Click on it again. Does it go back to? Yeah, I think it went back to auto smooth or auto curve, whatever. Trying to get the symmetrical node. There we go. And I believe you have to double click on a curved node in order to get the symmetrical node. But if you're confused by this, you can easily go up here to the options tool panel. Change up your node however you wish. No big deal. Corner, curves, symmetrical, auto smoothed. I believe it's yeah. Let's briefly talk about objects. Vector objects are basically objects like your rectangle, your circle, your star. Okay. We'll just add some more corners to that. But as you can tell, they're unlike normal paths. They have special features that allows you to adjust and tweak the shape. Show you the 3D. Yeah, we're going to create videos just for these. This is a quasi 3D object. And then the spiral object. But they're similar to a path, but not quite. So when we use the node tool, and you can also adjust them using the tools tool directly. So you could do this either with the node or the spiral tool to tweak the spiral shape. Same thing with the circle. They'll have special points on them. But unlike a path, you can't just double click on what you think is a curve and expect something to happen. Like, you can't add a new node. You can't drag it a curve out because it's not a path. It's a vector object or vector shape. Vector object or shape. Alright, and all you can do with any of these special objects is tweak the features that they have preloaded on them. Same thing with the star. You can't just click on what you think is a path or a curve, drag it out. You're only limited to the options that exist. Now, how do we take a shape or an object and convert it into a path? Well, we just go up into the path menu on Windows and Linux. It will be built into the window right above it, but on the Mac, it's always at the top. Go to Path, Object to Path, or you can do Command or Control, depending on what operating system you're on. But for the sake of this video, we'll do Control-Shift-C, and it takes the vector object and converts it into editable paths. And of course, you can edit these newly created paths however you wish. So that gives you the gist of how that all works out. Okay, we've pretty much covered all the basics and then some on the node tool. Now I did overlook many of the options on this options bar over here, and we will get into this in a future video. I wasn't originally intending to get into these options here for the nodes, or how to change up the node directly, but we will get into the full options bar over here in a future video. The point of this video is to help you nail the basics of the node tool so you can immediately jump in and edit any vector object within Inkscape. So in other words, the point is to get you up and running quickly. But beyond that, thank you for watching this video. I appreciate your time. If you enjoyed or learned something from this video, please click the like and the subscribe button so you can be made aware of future videos. And if you have any questions, comments, whatever, please let me know in the comments section. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to learn how to improve these videos so I can cater to you guys. And also, if you happen to have a couple extra bucks in your pocket, swing on over to inkscape.org and send them a small donation.